Bookstore, 6412 Ridge Road in Port Richey. And we have the honor here of having our friend, local author James Davidson here with us today. And we're going to talk a little bit about his book and what he's been doing. How you doing today, James?
I am actually, well, I'm doing on the upswing. Just
You're on
put
the
it that
upswing?
way, yeah.
James is going through some chemo treatments right now.
So we finally, I finally talked the doctor out of doing it because it was just making me too sick. So we'll see what's next.
So we're a little bit in the 6 foot area. Are you okay with that?
Oh, I'm fine with that.
Okay, yeah. We're gonna keep our masks on, so we'll speak up. So tell us about this book. What brought this about? What was your inspiration for The Small Diversion?
I've always loved to write. I grew up in California, and I grew up with a lot of the reading the great American writers out there who would congregate around Hollywood and end up writing screenplays for their movies.
Mm-hmm.
So writers like Steinbeck and well, I was never a big fan of Hemingway, but we'll mention Hemingway.
You have to almost.
Faulkner. I like Faulkner because of his run-on sentences. He could just write and write and write until he passes out. But yeah, I loved all those writers, and then of course the gumshoe writers like
Earl Stanley Gardner.
Yeah, Earl Stanley Gardner, who was, interestingly enough, he grew up in the county that I lived in. I lived close to Los Angeles for quite a while, and he was in Ventura County where he did his training in law. And so that's how he was inspired to write books. But obviously he's a much better writer than I am. But these are writers that kind of inspired me. So I've always liked to write. But I think what really made me want to write a book was I moved to Florida with my wife about 15 years ago. She had been down here, we met, but I've been in Florida for about 15 years. And I kind of got the feeling of what the persona of Florida is. You've got these people, you've got a lot of people that just come down here, they retire, very relaxed life. But then you get these people that just kind of live on the edge of the law. They want to do just enough to make a living to get by. And they basically are always on the edge of the law. And you hear about these people. You go grab a copy, if they still make it, grab a copy of Mugshot magazine. You'll see them in there.
And that's what your main character, Mac, is kind of that guy.
He's got that quality to him, but he's a very honorable, ethical guy. He will cheat a criminal. So if something magically falls into his hand, like in my book, he describes a story about how he's got this yacht, this huge yacht. And he got it because one of his jobs was to help track these drug lords that were going to bring some drugs down into the Miami area. And so he managed to get on this boat, and the drug lords caught him, and he ended up having a shootout and killed all of the drug people that were on the boat. So he's the only one left on this boat. And he says, geez, I got this big yacht here. I'm the only guy left. What's going to happen to this yacht? So the first thing he does is he calls one of his old friends, because he's one of those guys that has all these old friends. And his old friend runs a salvage company. So his old friend arranged for all the paperwork so that he would end up owning that boat. And so he just is this guy that...
Shades of Travis McGee.
Yeah,
huh?
Shades of Travis McGee, yeah.
From the old John D. MacDonald novels.
Yeah.
Those are great, great stories. I will have to admit I haven't made it all the way through your story yet, but what I have read has been very enjoyable, very much so.
Well, I got one...
Set in Tarpon Springs, right?
Set in Tarpon Springs. He lives in kind of a warehouse that's been converted into a fancy apartment, and it's right on a canal where he parks his yacht. And the book actually opens up where he's taking his yacht out for a spin. And of course, when he comes back, that's when work arrives, and he's got his first job. And the whole book is about this job. But I wanted to build a character that brought in a lot of these little images that I would see in Florida of people and characters. And I said, well, this is kind of, nobody in there actually resembles somebody in real life, but a lot of them are composites of people that you may recognize, just certain qualities to it. So
I found myself drifting off and remembering some of my old horse barn days, seeking out some of those old characters, the old guy with the horseshoe print on his face. You would always go ask him for advice about how to take care of your horse because he knew what was going on. Mac reminds me of a character like that. He's got that good old knack.
He's like in the center of a constellation of people, and there's people out there he relies on for things.
So where, besides the Paperback Exchange Bookstore, if somebody would want to buy a copy of your book, where can we find that?
It's available on Amazon and through a lot of secondary distributors, actually throughout the world, oddly enough. There's bookstores all over that seem to have copies of it.
And if you check out our new website, pbx-books.com, it is also on there.
There's another guy with the same name. A lot of times you'll see other books. I've only written one book, but he's written quite a few more than I have. But if you just Google The Small Diversion, put it in parentheses, double quotes, and Davidson, it'll pop up. You'll see it, and it'll be on Amazon. You might get some reviews or things like that on it. But,
so as far as your inspiration, obviously moving to Florida, a change of scenery gave you some time to sit down and write your first book finally?
I've been battling cancer for 8 years, and so at the particular time I wrote it, I've been doing a lot of reading, and I'd read Marcus Aurelius. He has quite a few quotes, and one of his quotes was, "Everything that we do echoes in eternity," and I thought, well, what have I done that's going to echo beyond me?
You got something to leave behind.
I wrote a book, you know, and I said, I want to leave my voice, the way I tell a story, the way I think of, the way I organize an idea and a thought and a character and an image, and I wanted to leave that behind. I didn't really write it for a huge audience. It would be nice to have a huge audience, but I really wrote it so that, people that knew me afterwards would be able to know the way that I communicate just by the way I write. So I said, well, that's my inspiration.
Well, I know you've been a staunch supporter of our little bookstore here since we've
I
opened
love
up.
your bookstore.
Been in and out so much,
God.
And I truly do appreciate that. All of our local authors have done a wonderful job of supporting me here, and in turn, that's what I want to do. I want to support you guys out in the field, and during this crazy COVID time, we can't really draw a lot of people out to the store.
Well, beyond pandemics, these are dark times, and we're dealing. You can see with the way people are responding to the pandemic that they're not out there responding necessarily in a thoughtful, educated way. A lot of them are very emotional, and I think a lot of that reflects that people are retreating from reading. People don't read anymore. They think that what reading is you go up to Twitter and you listen to what some guy said.
Yeah, that's not reading.
When he was amped up.
That's not an entire subject or storyline of a book.
Oh,
Those are just little quips. That's like reading magazines, not a novel.
But when you see like your bookstore, you have just a huge collection of books. We go to small bookstores like yours. I only call it small because you go to Books A Million.
Because I'm running out of space.
Running out of space. Actually, you are running out of space.
I am.
But when we go to Haslam's, it's very difficult to go to even Haslam's now because they're not carrying the older books. They don't carry a lot of used books anymore. They just say, well, we can't compete with Barnes & Noble, so we're just going to become Barnes & Noble. They haven't quite taken that next step of, selling fuzzy animals or anything, which is, like Books A Million. About 1/3 of the store now is product of some kind, but it's not books.
Knick-knacks and bangles and beads. And you'll see a few bangles and beads here. We used to do gig work and open air markets, making jewelry and making items,
it is
and
nice
sold those. So a little bit of that you'll see here, but mostly it's all book related. I like to try to keep that theme going, or it might be items that are attached to a book that you could learn about. But
it's not
that way.
Part of some fantastic marketing scheme, multi-level marketing scheme where we're going to release a book, and as part of that book we're going to release fuzzy dice. Or something. Who knows what they sell.
We don't have that much time for branding. We're just trying to provide books for people.
Yeah, for people.
and our exchange program is working very well. And I will have to say, when one group is tired of whatever is playing out in social media or the television, they do come back to books, and vice versa. The other group, when they're tired of seeing whatever the division is, I see separate group, parts of those groups coming back to books, which is wonderful. You know, we're trying to provide as many different titles for people as possible, and you local authors are really doing a good job of gigging that out, gigging that out. Yeah, we've got quite a large now local authors collection. We've expanded it out to a full other shelf. So we will continue to support you here. And
well,
thank you.
I may have to write a second book because I might actually survive.
Well, we hope that happens, and we're so glad that you're here, and we're so glad that you're well enough to be here and participate in this interview today. You're just precious to me, and thank you so much for being such a great patron as well as a supporter of our store.
Well, thank you. Well, you know, one of the things that has really touched me about you is how you have outreach to children, to read to children, to bring them into the fold of becoming readers.
As a matter of fact, and this is not a plant, we are in the beginning stages of trying to become the local affiliate to the Dolly Parton Imagination Library.
Really?
Where we will get local donations to cover the costs per year of providing a book to every child in Pasco that's registered ages 0 to 5 years old.
Wow.
We've got about 2,700 or so, according to the census. We want to try to get it somewhere between 500 and 900 of those children registered the first year. So yeah, we'll be working with our state level partners as well as we'll be the local affiliate for it. So any Rotary clubs or United Way associations or anybody that's looking to donate, we are gathering donations now to try to raise the first, I think it's going to be right around $1,800 that as our portion of it for the first year. And then, you know, Dolly and all of the state level partners take care of the rest of it. It's a cost of about $25 a year per kid. So that's not much.
And
our part of it is only $2.10.
And what kind of donations do you accept then?
We accept cash donations.
Okay, cash donations.
It'll be, we will be responsible for paying that portion of every child registered at the end of it. And over the course of the next few years, we'd like to try to get as many of the 2,700 kids eligible in Pasco registered. So, like I said, we're in the
math in my head. $1,800 a year divided by 12 months, $150 a month. So be part of that $150 a month. And you're really contributing to the future of Pasco County and hopefully the future of
the importance of
Florida.
Reading and being able to write, and we want to gift that to every kid and plant that seed early.
Open their doors now.
That's right. Tap into that imagination.
Wow.
And that's what we want to do here. So enough about us.
Okay.
Thank you so much again for being part of this. And if you see this video on our Facebook page, I would like to offer the first person that comes into the store after we post this video and mentions Jim's book, The Small Diversion, will get a free signed copy from us. So thank you again, James Davidson of The Small Diversion, for supporting us and being part of this wonderful book community that we share with everybody.
And if you do like it, do a review. Even if you don't like it, do a review. I like to know, because I am probably going to write another book. I'm not sure whether I'm going to continue with this character or not. It opened an area of interest for me, but I do like really serious writing. It's not really. It's fun reading.
It's fun. It's a
little
fun
brutal
read.
at times, but it's fun. It's got a nasty killer in it. He's evil. I won't tell you what happens, but he's evil.
No spoilers. No spoilers.
No spoilers.
Well, thank you again very much, and thank all of you for supporting our little bookstore here, the Paperback Exchange, through all of this crazy pandemic time. We hope to all be vaccinated soon and be able to rip off these masks and be regular folks again.
Yeah, we can join the human race the way it was before the plague.
I'd wear 10 masks and a hamster bubble if I could go to an outdoor concert and have a beer.
Oh,
yeah. All right, enough of that.
Yeah.
Thank you again.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Sleep less, read more, and wash your hands.
All right.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Wow, that's fantastic that you're doing that. I had seen